Hello, Commanders. Hope you're all having a wonderful day today. I want to do a quick video here. Hopefully it's quick. Talk about a couple of the crew options here. I should stay from the get-go because I want to give full credit where credit is due. That this crew, or these crews, came from a stream that Lewb posted. And I'm going to post his video because I think it's a fantastic video. And I felt like I kind of just, for the general player, wanted to explain the crews a little bit more and how I see them being useful, maybe add one or two little tips. But this did come from Lewb, and it was on his live stream that he posted, so Lewb has fantastic content. If you haven't seen his content, please check him out. He's one of the reasons why I have gotten and been able to stock up on so many epic and rare regular Armada directives. So great content comes from Lewb. But he had Blue Mandalorian on his stream, and they went over some crews that I would call them punch-up crews, and I think they're fantastic. They will really help you in your NX01 loop. Still keeps it very short, like 5 minutes a day, I think. Pretty close to it. Just if you factor in the warp time, that might be another issue to consider if it's 5 minutes or not, depending where you're warping to. But pretty short grind. I think that it really helps out get the loot you need to max your refines. So let's get into it. And just as we do, we're pretty close. I think we're just 3 shy of having our 1,000 subscribers. So if you're new to the channel, or you've been watching for a while and you haven't subscribed, please do so. It really does help out the channel. Feel free to hit that thumbs up and hit the bell notification so you're kept in the loop of future content. Okay, so let's hop into it. I have my NX01 already set up here, and as I've mentioned before, and you'll have to determine the best strategy for you, but I want to share with you, and I put together a PDF with these different crew combinations, and if you join my Discord, which once again I always put in my description below, you may have to hit the read more link or see more, but it's there. It will be there. But I'm going to post this, the chart I'm going to go over with you, which has a list of all the crews in Discord, so you can download it and save it for your own use or your own reference or what have you. So let's hop into that, and I'll talk through the crews here, and then hopefully this will make sense and it will help you out. But remember, when you go to these zones with the aquatics, that you, and I might as well, just for a comprehensive discussion, let me show you where they're at. They're in the same place here, this purple kind of clouded area here, just to the west of the lower Federation space. On the regular path, you have just going around here, Voxus, Utelion, Ranghad, and so forth. You have the regular where you're getting the reptilian hostiles, but in these token systems off to the side, here, they all take a token. That's where you're finding the aquatics at. Okay. So first crew, I'm gonna go over 2 crews that I found helpful for interceptors. I've made videos about these, but you have Pike, Moreau, Chen as the first one, the first introductionary crew, I would say, for interceptors. The interceptors that you find there, they have a big, a bigger energy weapon that always criticals in the first round. So it's energy weapon, and Chen with Pike Moreau providing the teaching moments. Christopher Pike increases the effectiveness of all officer abilities that trigger in combat, but with Pike Moreau providing synergy to Pike, it ultimately reduces, or can reduce if your Chen is max, I think, the energy damage by like 96%. So it's pretty effective. There's some kinetics that fire, but they aren't as big and as much to worry about on those. The other crew, let me go with group. I would say Archer, Tucker, and then Chen. Chen isn't going to get as much benefit from not having Pike and Moreau, but you're getting from Delphic Savior, from Archer, 300% increased loot drop. You're also getting a 100% synergy, so for a total of 400, you get that 100% synergy from Trip. Trip also reduces the critical damage after you take damage from a hostile, which you do against these interceptors. So he's going to reduce the critical damage that comes. Chen reduces the energy damage, so those two help to limit that first big energy shot. And so this is effective to get more loot than you can get with Pike, Marrow, Chen. So if you have them unlocked, this is another option that you can use. So another group, let's see here. So when we're talking about battleships, let me find Archer again. This is the first crew that we want to talk about here. And the reason why this crew is effective, because you've got Archer, who, although he doesn't have Trip for the synergy, he's still providing some benefit as far as getting a 300% loot drop from the hostiles. And then we've got Tal and Giorgio. And I think at this point a lot of people know, but Tal, what he does is he reduces, mine isn't that, I think it's only tier 1, so it depends on your tier, of course, but mine reduces the ship's hull of the opponent by 5% each round while it's burning. And so I have Giorgio, mine is maxed, so you can use Giorgio, you can use Nero, for example, here. But with those two, you can take out the battleships, and you can actually take them out in higher level systems than you might otherwise think, because you have a significant damage boost that you're getting from the ship itself. I go back here. Let me save that actually, so we can keep looking. But we need to remember with some of these punch-up crews that some of them will determine or be only effective when you've leveled up your ship. So significant damage boost against aquatic hostiles. Do I wish these worked on reptilians? Yes, and hopefully, I mean, that'd be fantastic if Scopely could make that change. It would make this ship more valuable, in my opinion, not so much just hitting the aquatics. But anyways, if you don't have some, this is just one of the options that you want to consider. I have Tendi below decks, increase the hull health, last longer, and then I have Paris below decks just to provide some mitigation numbers. And obviously, you'll have more options, things you can do here with some of these crews as you level up the ship and get more below deck slots. So this may be helpful if you don't have the next crew option I'm going to suggest, mostly because you're able to punch up. And the one thing we have to remember, and I have to remind you, I think repeatedly, is that the risk here is that if you're hitting battleships, you risk getting nothing if you hit it, because they have a 30% chance for their go-home cannon, like a 7 billion shot, to just take out your ship. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. So you take the risk because you get 10 times the loot. So as we talk about these different strategies, one thing I could probably recommend is as you look at your whole health and how much you think you're going to need, and some of that's going to come from testing, some will be from some things that have already been put together by the community, which we'll look at in a minute here. But you may want to still hit a couple of interceptors just to make sure you still get some loot, depending on the system you're going to. And then hit the battleship. That way you still make sure you get something at least. So that's something that you'll have to play with, because obviously you don't want to hit interceptor and have your hull go down to a level where you can't hit the battleship because you don't have enough hull health. So anyways, this is one crew to consider. I know sourcing for Tal is really deplorable. So some people may not have Tal, and so this may not be an option for you. Okay. Let me find, if I go back with this group, this is, the next one I'm going to show you is probably, I would say, the preferred method, the preferred punch-up crew. And I want to walk you through it and explain it a little bit. Where's Giorgio? Right there. Trying to talk and click at the same time, not as effective. So not everyone has Leslie, and so that's difficult, but this is probably the preferred one if you have Leslie, and Moreau, and Giorgio. So as a reminder, Leslie, as long as the ship's hull health is under 35% of its value at the beginning of combat, Leslie restores it by 5% at the end of each round. So this doesn't mean necessarily, it's just when your hull health drops below 35%. Now Moreau is going to provide some some armor piercing, shield piercing, so some mitigation here, right? But Moreau also increases Leslie's effectiveness by 5%. So he's going to go up to 10% per round. And then you've got Giorgio. And when I first saw this, I remember asking, like, why are we even burning the opponent? Is it to trigger some artifacts? No, it's just to help to take out the hostile. And so what this does is Leslie and Moreau basically keep you alive, and Giorgio basically burns it to death. So you'll do some damage, obviously, with your ship, but that's the basic idea here. So how do we want to look at this? Well, actually, let me save that. Let me go here. This is what I will post online, but this is a chart that was put together by Blue Mandalorian. Gave him full credit for his work and the wonderful work he does for the community. I will add here, just like this says, that one thing you can do is if, and that's a big if your Neelix is maxed, you can actually take Giorgio off the bridge, put Neelix below decks, and then you can add like 5 of 11 for extra loot boosts on the bridge. So what you want to do here is you want to look at this chart, because it's all going to be based upon the health of your ship, the whole health. So if I go here to details and I scroll down a little bit more, right there, whole health. I see that I have 39.31 million whole health. Now I do have this artifact that helps with the whole health, and research is going to obviously factor into it. So when I look at the chart, I say to myself, okay, 39.31. If I go back here, I should be able to hit 57s. And if I have my favor max, I should get like 3 million loot from hitting a 57 if I can take it out. The reason why I've had going up some screenshots today is because the last 3 days I've tried this, the battleship, has just taken me out with a go home cannon. So RNG has really not been nice to me the last few days. But I want to get this out. I want to get this helpful information out to explain crews and the process. What I could do is I could go to, say, the 55 level system, and I could try, since I've got plenty of whole health, and as long as I keep my whole health above 30 million, I'm probably pretty safe. To hit some interceptors first. Just depends how much help they're going to take from my ship. So that's kind of the risk you have to take if you're doing that. So be careful with that. Tests have shown, and this chart says early math suggests that Moreau, Paris below decks will never be enough to get your mitigation up to 70%, and this is assuming max mitigation. So you'll have to play with it. As you go up in levels, you have to look at your mitigation, so you can look at a battle report and say mitigation divided by how much damage actually was shot at your ship. You need that to be at 70% or higher. Max mitigation is about 71%, right? So that's where you want to be. So I have put this already in my Discord, but you can use this as a great reference. Save it, whatever you want to do, but you can use this as a great reference to determine, okay, which system do I want to go to and hit with these crews. So I like the idea of putting Perish below decks, but all depends on your mitigation, your level of your ship, and so forth. So let me give you a couple of examples, and I want to thank Lord Gargar. We've been talking a little bit last couple of days, and he sent me these screenshots, so thanks to him for this. But here he is. He's got, what was it, must be tier 3. I don't have a screenshot for that, but I mean, only 22 million power. So anyways, not super strong, but he's able to hit a 51 aquatic cruiser. And for those who don't know, what Leslie ends up doing behind the scenes is he artificially increases the amount of your hull during the battle. And you survive longer, but what ends up happening is that you'll end up oftentimes winning the battle, but then as soon as the battle is over, that artificially created hull goes away, and it basically shows you as having negative hull, and so you die. You just blow up. But you win the battle, and as long as Leslie keeps your hull positive during the battle, you'll win and you'll get the loot. So here's the crew that we just talked about. Here is a screenshot showing that he got 917,000. And I don't remember, I'd have to check. Lord Gargar, you can comment below if you want to in the description, or sorry, in the comment section. I'm not sure if his Xindi loot is maxed or not, but he hit a 51. So see, that says 875. So there's probably some research there, and then there's a favor for it that may help with that. So he's getting a little bit more, but that's about the ballpark of where he was getting. So now he's got loot for days. I mean, if he did single pulls to, in the refinery, he's got that for days. If he does a double or two, it won't last him as long, but still a significant amount. Now he may get unlucky like me for many days in a row and not have any loot. So you're going to have to plan that out and say to yourself, do you just take single pulls maybe until you get a couple of these and you have quite the surplus, kind of stock up on it so you always are getting something from this. Okay, and then lastly, this is what he got from the rewards, but this one right here, the rare choice opportunity chips, is when you get your NX01, if you don't have it now, these have an extra refinery. Let me show you in mine. So if we go down to the NX01, they've got this extra refinery special opportunity chest, this option on the right. And so you can actually pull both of these if you have enough, but see, it takes 30 and you get 10 per ship that you take out. So that's great. Then here it's a chance, also costs 30 or 100 depending what you're doing. So these are really good to get at some point in the game, and there is a strategy for that, and that's where this last crew is going to come in. Whoops, let me go back to that. So let me show you this last crew, and keep in mind that this crew, according to what Blue Mandalorian has shared with us, let's see here, I need to find, where's Harrison? There we go. Below decks for data. So here's the crew right here. So the idea here is Harrison is ignoring shields in the first round, depending upon the level of your Harrison. Data is providing a huge or a good bump in your isolytic damage, and then Pike is increasing the effectiveness of those two officers. So that, and the reason why this isn't effective until at least tier 5, the reports in the community have been tier 8 to tier 10 where it's been most effective. So it could be a while before we're doing this on a regular basis. But remember this, the base damage of the ship. So the idea here is that until tier 5, you're not doing significant enough of damage for this crew to work. But once you are at tier 5 and you're using this crew, you can go here to one of these systems, these 40 level systems, and I can testify that I saw a player that had like a whale in our server had 150 million ship, and I don't remember the tier of it, but I literally saw this player going from hostile to hostile, basically the battleships, and just 1, 2, 3, just knocking them out, not caring the world. Was easily farming these. I saw it myself, but was farming those battleships left and right. And so you could easily stock up on those rare chips so that you can constantly be turning them in. And once you get to the point that you've got, millions, maybe millions stocked up, you don't mind hopping into these systems and just farming the battleships for those rare chips once in a while. So probably worth your time, and will really help to bring in those epic and rare credits as you're trying to move along and progress with the favors. So yeah, that's the progression. Let me open that up once again. So I will be posting this right here on my website. Sorry, not my website, on my Discord. But I think you'll have to decide what you want to do. I think what I'm probably going to do and what I would recommend is if you have Leslie, Moreau Chen, or Moreau Giorgio, I would go with that crew. Not everyone has Leslie. I know if we hop back into the game, and there's probably, let's see here, officers, recruit. Limited sourcing, but I know if you go into... I'm trying to remember if they're in the Ultra. Let's look real quick. I forgot to check that. So... let me see. I don't remember. I don't think he's there. Okay, so I remember seeing Leslie in the Elite Federation Recruit. Right there. So I ended up buying mine with the $20 pack like a year or two ago, however long it's been. And he's been very helpful. So not everyone will have him, and I get that. But you may want to consider getting Leslie if you don't for this loop, because he will be probably your best officer for that. But yeah, Leslie, Moreau, Giorgio, I would start with that. And then consider, if you have Tal and you don't have Leslie, you consider trying that crew. But this last one, remember, don't use that until you're at least tier 5 or higher. So anyways, hopefully this is helpful. Feel free to send me your questions in the comment section below. I try to read those as much as I can and respond to the ones as much as I possibly can. Feel free to join our Discord too. And hopefully this is helpful, explains the crews so you know kind of what you're looking for and the best way to crew for these. So you can really excel as much as possible with this loop. It has some fantastic favors. And I think as we progress through it, getting materials and whatnot and officer shards is going to be huge. So anyways, hopefully this is helpful, and I will see you next time.